Good morning, Silicaca and surrounding areas. This is Employment Opportunities, and I'm your host, Randy Clark. And remember, just a reminder, if you happen to miss some of the interview or you want to just write down the numbers or where to apply for these jobs at, you can go to the WIL Facebook page or go to YouTube, WIL TV 47 Employment Opportunities. Now let me tell you about a couple of jobs I got this morning. Harvey's on Noble right here in Silicaca. They're eager to add team players with the driven personalities, looking for hostesses, kitchen expediter, and line cooks. Application can be found on www.harveysonnoble.com. Download, fill out, and email info to harveysonnoble.com. Can also come by between 2 and 4 Wednesday through Saturday and put in your application. Coosa Valley Healthcare, looking for RNs and LPNs, certified nursing assistant, medication assistant certified, dietary and housekeeping, excellent pay and benefits. Apply in person or respond to our job positions on Indeed.com. All right, right down the road here in Chillisburg, JBG Trucking in Chillisburg, currently hiring day and night shift positions. Job consists of 4-mile haul, 5 days a week, 12-hour shifts, and you're home daily. And you're going to be hauling wood chips. We offer competitive pay, and they're also seeking CDL drivers. Now, without further ado, I got a special guest with me here today. This is Dr. Jonathon Douglass of Broadway Spinal Care. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Could you tell us a little bit about Jonathan?
Sure. My wife and I moved back to Silicaca about 3 or 4 months ago, I guess now. Tara is from Silicaca. I'm from Hoover, and we opened Broadway Spinal Care in the old Mac and Ted's building, and we're just real excited to be here. We're getting busier.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, we love it, and we're getting busier every week, and we have such a nice group of people we're seeing, and we're just happy to be back in Alabama.
We're glad to have you, and thank you for opening your business here in Silicaca. We are growing, and we're glad you're a part of it. Jonathan, now, I also understand you don't just run the chiropractic office, but you're well involved. You and Tara both in the community, and we sure do appreciate it. And
Tara's parents set a really good example of being a part of the community, and it's really hard. We lived in the Portland, Vancouver area. It's really hard to become a part of the community because it was so big and so diverse, and you could be a part of your little community, but not a part of something that felt like something. But here it feels like we can really be a part of something, and we get to know people, and we see people we know all over the place. I grew up in Hoover. It's kind of too big, I feel like, for that to be the case, but it's kind of fun. We're figuring it out. I don't understand small town completely. Tara does, so she's trying to teach me, but we're excited to be here and help.
And y'all jumped right into community things too.
We have.
And we appreciate that. And not only are you a chiropractic doctor, you also got another engineering degree.
My degree is in textile engineering, and that's a good segue as to what we wanted to talk about some today.
Yes.
I went to Auburn and War Eagle. My first engineering job, internship, was at a plant in Cheraw, South Carolina. And the first thing they had me do was anytime it rained, and I think this is because you're the intern, of course, they make you go out and track water coming off of plants because it's very important for water to be able to drain. And so that definitely segues into what we're dealing with in Silicaca in some ways with the drainage problem. And one of the things I noticed immediately was that we have big drains all around a plant, but you also have a lot of drains that are just clogged with very, very simple things.
Right.
And so that, again, ties right into what we need to talk about today, which is the litter situation in Silicaca.
Can you further explain what you mean by drains stopping up? It's not just one thing, it's multiple things, but one of the things us citizens can do. Now, we're not talking about what the city does as far as keeping the drains unclogged. What we're talking about is what we can do as citizens to keep from stopping these drains up. And there's several things. Could you just...
Sure, and I think it's interesting because this applies to chiropractic the same way. So we talk to people all the time about how they have nerve problems, and if you have a nerve problem, it's because you have a hole where the nerve comes out that has pinched. And so if we think about looking at drainage, and this is going to be a simple diagram here, we're not going high tech, right?
That's what we are.
So,
we're simple.
We're simple. So we're talking about something, let's say this is like a 12-inch pipe, right? That's a 12-inch pipe when it's clear.
Right.
Right, a 12-inch pipe clear. But you're driving down the road and you've been to Sonic, and not to pick on Sonic, I'm just saying that I picked up this morning, I was thinking about you. We walk the dogs every morning and we pick up litter, and I probably picked up half a bag of garbage this morning, and for some reason there were a lot of styrofoam cups.
Right.
And so there was a whole bag of Sonic and Sonic things, whatever. And again, not picking on Sonic, but just that's what we saw this morning. But if you take a 12-inch drain and then you put a cup in there, and then you put something like, let's say, a 2-liter bottle, terrible drawing of 2-liter bottle.
Or just a water bottle.
Or just a water bottle,
Yeah.
or whatever. And those things get stopped. Well, all of a sudden you take a 12-inch pipe and now you make it a 4-inch pipe.
Right.
And a 4-inch pipe does not move water.
Right. Right.
And so we have a lot of drainage, and every city, municipality has a lot of drainage.
Right.
But when we fill it up with junk, all of a sudden we have no drainage. And,
Exactly.
and we were talking about earlier, I think one of the most frustrating things about something like us putting cups and bottles and whatever, again, worst drawing ever, is that litter is something that could stop today.
Yes.
We could literally have this
Yeah.
problem go away immediately if we all stopped putting stuff on the road and we started putting it in trash bags.
Exactly.
And then we wouldn't have to pick it up, and we wouldn't have to have it stop up our drainage. And if we all made a concerted effort as of today, then the problem is done.
Exactly. You know, you talking about some of these cups and little things. The little things add up to be big things.
That's correct.
And
We pick up a lot of candy wrappers. So I was
Yes.
thinking about every morning we pick up the same things. We pick up cigarette packs, and the plastic that goes on the cigarette pack, that's everywhere, right?
Yes.
Candy wrappers, always, always. Cans, we always pick up. We always pick up styrofoam cups. It's the same exact litter every day. There's nothing new. And mask. People drop masks like crazy, which really clog it up, and they get on birds, and I mean, that's another discussion. But
yes, what we're talking about here is prevention.
Correct.
And I'm all about litter, and I'm sure you and also many other people in the city, I see them walking with a garbage bag in their back pocket, which is a great thing.
It's amazing.
I really don't think this was happening 3 years ago when I first became involved in the litter around here. But back to the drains. It doesn't matter whether you've got a 12-inch drain or a 16-inch drain, or even as big as a 20-inch drain. If it is stopped up with litter, that water is not going through that drain. What's it going to do? It's going in somebody's yard. And
in their house.
in their house, in their cars.
Exactly.
So a lot of these things we could do, the city is involved right now in unstopping some of our drains that was stopped up.
Which is great.
But us citizens can stop these things that are going in and stopping up the drain.
I mean, we literally, if the city spends $100,000 on new drainage, enough litter could make that go to no drainage at all.
It'll be just like it was.
Just like it was. And the reason we talked earlier about the reason that I'm so passionate about litter, and I know you're so passionate about litter, is that we came from an area, we moved to the Northwest, and it was so beautiful. And when my dad drove us up there 20-something years ago, we all talked about how when you got to the Northwest, you could tell that people cared because there was no litter anywhere. It wasn't on the highways, it wasn't in the neighborhoods, there was nothing. And then there was this slow progression where it seemed to be people stopped worrying about it so much. And then we started seeing more graffiti, and then we started seeing more litter, and then it became just very common to see trash bags on the road. And then you had drainage problems because it rains.
I've seen some of those pictures.
Oh my gosh, it's just destroyed. But you see that they had a drainage system that works. It rained 300 days a year in Portland. And so you have to move water, right? But as they allowed this litter to continue and continue, and as the citizens didn't work on it, and you see things thrown in the road, and all, then it doesn't matter how much drainage you have. And so I don't want Sylacauga to ever get in a point where we have amazing drainage, but we were like Portland and we don't have any ability to move it just because we put some styrofoam cups and some bottles in there.
Right.
And we could have just taken them home instead of throwing them out the
right.
window. That's all there is
right.
to it.
You know, and some of the litter that I'm seeing, and now look, I want to make this perfectly clear. We're not picking on everybody. 50% of the people does the right thing. They put their litter in the proper containers where it's supposed to go. It's the other 50% that we're trying to get through to not litter. So all you good citizens that's doing the right thing, you know, it's great. It's not you that we're really focusing on. It's the ones that, you know, just throw these things out. I don't understand it, but, you know, a lot of the things that I'm seeing too is after the garbage man comes and he dumps the thing, if you put this loose trash in your garbage can, we've all got Dollar General bags, Walmart bags, Piggly Wiggly bags, everybody's got them. You know, there is no reason in the world that you can't put this loose garbage in one of those bags tied up, and I promise you that bag is going in the garbage truck. But I cannot promise you a styrofoam cup or loose trash.
Sure.
A lot of times it's out on the street. And you know, we are supposed to pull our garbage cans back, which, you know, I'm gonna say 90% of the citizens do. But if somebody say is working or they're out of town and they dump their garbage, and that trash right there, that loose trash lays there on the street for a couple of days, we get a rain, where's it going, Jonathan?
Yeah, and that's
right in the drain.
I don't think people really understand the magnitude of the problem. And you think, oh, I just threw, you know, some candy bar wrappers outside, and it's not that big a deal. But when it's magnified 1,000 times, and when it floods one of our neighbors on Broadway because the drainage there, then that becomes a big deal when a store owner has to shut their store down because drainage doesn't move.
Yeah.
And so if we can all just work on that, then it helps everything.
It does. And another thing, we only got a couple minutes, but another thing I want to focus on this morning is grass being blowed in the road. And, you know, fall's coming up, leaves being blown out in the road. It is amazing how much, you know, people trims their limbs around the house, you know, and they set them. Don't set them in the road. The city is eventually going to come by and pick it up. But, you know, what if you set it out there today and the city don't pick up your limbs till next Wednesday and it rains 4 times between now and then? Guess where those leaves is going? In the drainage system. And, you know, not only are we focusing on our drainage systems, but even if this litter or these leaves or water, grass clippings, if they get past our drainage system, guess where they're going next? In our rivers, our waterways. We don't want that either. We want to prevent it from going in our waterway. Everybody likes to go swimming, you know, go boating, recreational boating, fishing, whatever. You know, we don't want that stuff in our rivers, but the key to stopping that is preventing it from getting down there.
The key to most everything in life is prevention. When people come to talk to us about chiropractic, we talk about prevention. When you're talking about litter, you talk about prevention. So if you just think a little bit into the future and you think what could be the repercussion of what I'm doing with this, then everything could be fixed. And we literally, like we said, could fix this today.
Okay.
We could just not, if you have something you think is going to stop up a drain, then if you can not put that in a place where it's going to end up in the drain, then the problem has literally gone away.
Right. Now, when you ask somebody not to blow these grass clippings or leaves out in our roads, be nice about it. You know, we don't want to be ugly to anybody. Just be nice and tell them. And, you know, and what I've seen, it's not the people that's cutting their own grass. It's somebody that comes by and cuts somebody's grass. And, you know, they don't live there, and I hate to say it, but they really don't give a crap what goes on out there in their street. But we do. We don't want our drains stopped up.
Sure.
You know, and we're not saying that one of these astronomical floods like we had not long ago that flooded our city, that's not what we're focusing on. There's nothing really that you can do about that. You know, when you get 7 or 8 inches of rain in a couple of hours, I don't think no drainage system in the world is prepared for that.
That's correct.
But what we can prevent from is our, you know, if it rains, like right now, we're in a rainy season this week. We've got rain predicted for just about every day. It keeps building up. Then we're going to get back to the flooding situation.
Sure. Well, think about by next spring, if everybody stopped littering right now or cut it back 50 or 75%, well, then they're working on the drainage system. And so we're going to have a better drainage system by spring. And we could have a totally different scenario if we all just decided today, let's just do a better job. And if we see somebody, it never works to scold someone. It's always better to educate them and say, hey, you know, I saw you drop your cup. That thing's going to end up in drainage. So if we could just put it in a bag and do it in a very nice way, then maybe we could educate, because education is always the answer to getting people to change their habits.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And, you know, the limbs and stuff that you cut away from your house, put them on the edge of your yard. Please don't put them out in the street, because you know, like I say, when that limb, when the leaves die on it and the rain comes, washes it right to the drain. And we want to prevent that. If you put them right at the edge of your yard, I promise you the city or the county will come and pick them up.
That's correct.
Jonathan, we're out of time.
Okay.
And I do want to plug you on something. I understand that you're going to be the assistant tennis coach for Sylacauga.
We've actually had quite a few people volunteer, and Cindy Cleveland has done an amazing job with the tennis teams. And so we've got 3 people who volunteered, and Ryan Coleman, Nick Cleveland, and then I'm going to be there also. And so we got some really experienced tennis players, and we're going to make the tennis team better.
Right. And maybe I can have you on here pretty soon, and let's talk about some stretching exercises, and maybe, I know your wife teaches Pilates.
That's correct. So we're all about prevention. It's just like litter. Prevention
right.
is the thing.
Jonathan, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
See you next week.